Hello.
Okay, everyone, can you hear us?
Do you want that?
Okay, we'll start with DJ.
Pablo, just open up with your impressions of the game and how quickly they changed with that three-goal first half.
Yeah, it was a shootout, DJ, and these are one of those games where super exciting. Um, and just again, real credit to the group on both sides of the ball. I thought we were dangerous in transition. I thought, I thought that again, that's something that we've been really deliberate. The guys were fantastic in that phase. I think defensively against again a really, really top attacking group and the players that they have. We knew it was going to be difficult, but the guys weathered the storm. They're comfortable protecting the lead. And I think in the second half we created a couple of good opportunities that could have put the game away, but it wasn't to be. And just again challenged our group to really dig deep and defend our box the right way and manage the game the right way. And so for a young group coming on the road again, the stadium is packed. It's a huge environment. For our group to be able to come away with 3 points in this game is tremendous.
You've been telling us Gozo's a different player because he can go inside on his left foot. I guess we finally
There
saw
you
what you were
go.
talking about.
I know. I was when I went in, I was just thinking about the last presser I had where it's like you guys aren't. I know you guys don't believe me, but this guy has been elite in the off season. Just again, just committing to his craft, and that goal is like literally carbon copy of the goals that he scored in preseason. So again, another really good performance from Gozo along with the rest of the guys.
Is that you've talked up Solans as well, and we saw him get in behind multiple times and score once. Is that the player you've been talking about as well? Is that who he is, or is there more we haven't seen?
No, I think Sergi. I wouldn't say he's a player that it has top end speed, but what he does have is top end timing. And again, when you're threatening a back line, you don't have to be the fastest guy, but you have to time the run perfectly. And then again, I think Morgan today, like just his level of quality and the pass that he gives to Sergi, the weight of the pass, the timing of the pass. These things are and I've spoke about it in the past. You got to make plays, and that's what making plays looks like. The guy receiving it along with the guy delivering it. I thought those guys up front, and then obviously Aiden and his finish and his ability to get loose and bury the box. So just really really proud of our group overall. There's some monster performances, and as a collective, we continue to reveal who we are, and just another really good performance to build upon.
I felt like I was watching a little bit of NBA basketball where matchups are everything because it looked to me like Miguel Almiron identified Philip Quinton and wanted to go at him and test him repeatedly. And
Mhm.
Philip did a good job of passing most of those tests.
Yeah, no, again, I think in person, he's Almiron is different. His ability to run at defenses and create a yard, and obviously Lath getting in the box. It was always going to be a tough assignment, but I think, like you rightly pointed out, I think Philip did a really good job of keeping things at bay for the most part, and the back line did a great job, and Hoffa, just organizing that group against a really not only are they really talented players, but their mobility and their actions are very hard to keep tabs on. And so, again, another great test for us, and one that I think that we did a really good job with.
Depending on the game, we're 3 games in now. Depending on the game, you've probably started guys you weren't planning on starting 3, 4, 5 guys a game, depending on which one we're talking about.
Mhm.
To walk away with 6 points. I mean, I know you're an optimist, Pablo, but isn't this a little beyond your expectations?
Yeah, again, I think I said this leading into this game, and they say like, "What is it? Why do you think?" And like, "Why is this year going to be special?" And what it's hard to articulate, but the feeling of the human beings, not the player. Obviously, you bring Lucas Engel into the group. He's got experience and he's got quality. You bring Morgan into the group. He's got experience. He's got quality. Sergi at a young age has quality. And so I think that my thing is when you see these guys interact away from the field, DJ, it's like a brotherhood. It's a bunch of guys that enjoy spending time together. There's no guy that's bigger than the team. And so like I've had the feeling I've had is when I was a player and I was with the US team and we were winning gold cups, or when I was playing and we were making a run for it just feels whole. Everyone is accountable to themselves, accountable to the teammates. And I think the performances that we've had in the three games, even the Vancouver, where we're behind it and we're chasing it, nothing changed. The guys really fought for one another, and I think that's what's really, really unique about our group.
Obviously, Luca was on a yellow card, so then that would be at least part of the reason you made that halftime
Yep.
substitution. But why go with Griffin Dillon making his MLS debut? What did you think when the first pass went awry, and then what did you think of the way he regrouped after a moment?
Yeah, again, I think Griffin Dillon, I think he understands moments. And he's been selected to be on the roster for I think it was like 14 games now and never once got a sniff. I think he trained really well this week. We're protecting the lead. So we want a guy that can spray balls, but also do a dogged job defending. And so the idea with Luca was exactly that. We had two guys on yellow cards and didn't want to play the numbers game with referee away from home in a packed stadium to allow the momentum of the moment to in any way put us in a position to get a red card. So that was the idea. And I think Riff, the first couple plays are going to be nervy. And again, I think, it's to come to this place to get your debut. This is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. And so, but I think the way he grew into the game was really, really important. Had some really good breakup. He broke up a few plays. He was able to now get on the half turn and play balls forward, which was really good. So I think if there's ever going to be a baptism by fire, it's coming to the Ben Stadium and playing against these guys and doing a good job and getting a result.
Thanks, Pablo.
Yep.
Sweet. We'll go to the room. Maria in the room.
Pablo, buenas noches. Primero, felicitaciones por la victoria.
Gracias.
Realmente, con lo que mencionaba acerca de la atmósfera, de lo que es el estadio, la cantidad de gente, lo que gritan constantemente durante el partido. ¿Qué les dijo a los jugadores antes del juego? ¿Cuál fue esa charla inicial? ¿Cómo enfrentarlos? ¿Cómo controlar a un Miguel Almirón, por ejemplo?
Sí, para mí es un grupo joven y lo más importante es que jugamos nuestro fútbol. eh, Queremos intentar a controlar momentos del partido, pero también respetar el rival. Y a veces tenemos que defender un poco más atrás, pero para mí jugamos un partido perfecto contra un gran equipo donde nuestras oportunidades vinieron de transición en el ataque y creamos mucho peligro de esa fase de juego, pero también nos tocó a defender más bajo y los chicos hicieron un muy buen trabajo. Pero para mí, antes del partido le dije, van a haber momentos difíciles, van a haber momentos lindos, pero yo quiero que se expresan su fútbol individualmente también. O sea, no hay que eh, tener miedo, porque el fútbol siempre, a veces te sale bien, a veces no. Y lo más importante es que salimos jugando como podemos jugar. Y para mí los chicos anduvieron muy bien hoy.
Vimos defensivamente que el equipo funcionó casi de manera perfecta, sobre todo en la segunda mitad, cuando ya Atlanta United intentó mucho más llegar al arco rival,
Ujú,
de cualquier forma tratar de empatar el partido.
ujú.
En esa línea defensiva, ¿a quién destacaría particularmente?
Pues yo creo que el Justin Glad anduvo muy, muy bien, controló el medio del campo y también no dejó que el AT tenía demasiado chance en frente del gol. Y para mí, él es el que controla los centrales a la derecha y la izquierda. Y para mí, él y los dos pivotes eh, achicaron los espacios bien, ganaron la pelota cuando estaba para ganar, pero más que nada defendieron el arco.
De lo que se viene ahora, el partido con Austin, ¿cuál va a ser el planteamiento para ese juego? ¿Qué piensan ustedes? ¿Más o menos seguir con la misma línea de lo que fue el juego de hoy o plantearlo de alguna manera diferente?
Pues yo creo que los partidos son diferentes cuando juegan en casa. versus jugar como visitante. Queremos imponer nuestro estilo contra Austin, pero también siempre respetar el rival. Así yo creo que ojalá el Diego Luna va a ser disponible para el partido. El Víctor, otro 9 que tenemos, va a estar disponible también. Y vemos cómo vamos. Pero lo más importante es que la mentalidad que estamos jugando ahora sigue lo mismo.
Precisamente de esa mentalidad. Es un equipo de transiciones muy rápidas, o sea, están defendiendo y en ataque con dos pases. Es una particularidad del equipo jugar así.
Sí, o sea, el año pasado vimos que no marcamos ni un gol en transición. Siempre queríamos controlar el juego. Cuando ganamos el balón, siempre controlar y dejar que el rival se mete para atrás. Y perdimos muchas oportunidades de marcar goles. Y ahora con el Gozo, con el Morgan, tenemos jugadores rápidos que pueden explotar esos momentos. Y es una cosa que venimos trabajando desde la pretemporada.
Digamos que fue parte del trabajo porque se ve que Atlanta es un equipo que le ganan las espaldas muy fácil de arriba.
Ujú.
No dice fácil porque lo desde afuera. Se le gana la espalda a la defensa, o sea, y eso fue parte importante.
Claro, claro. Y normalmente cuando nos tiramos un poco para atrás, y van a llegar a tirar jugadores para adelante, van a haber espacio para explotar. Y eso es normal en el fútbol, pero el año pasado no tuvimos los jugadores que, también no trabajamos demasiado en esa fase, y en los primeros 3 partidos hemos explotado esa fase del fútbol.
Perfecto.
Mencionó a Diego Luna, es que me llama la atención lo que sucedió, pero también hubo otras bajas debido a temas de rodilla, otras diferentes lesiones. ¿Cómo hizo para suplantar estos jugadores que vienen de ser titulares y tener al equipo para que funcionara de manera perfecta la noche de hoy?
Pues para mí es, como entrenadores siempre decimos que el jugador que está disponible va a jugar. Pero más, pero más los jugadores de experiencia, Justin Glad, el Jafa, el Morgan Guilaboy, estos jugadores con mucha experiencia también son muy importantes para darle confianza a los pibes, a los jóvenes. Si yo digo que sí, vamos a jugar, pero no confían en esos jugadores, es muy difícil para sacar un resultado en el fútbol. Y para mí los jugadores grandes con experiencia son muy importantes para seguir trayendo los pibes de esta manera.
Pues gracias.
¿Cómo no?
Matty Casey.
Hey, Pablo, congratulations on the win.
Thanks, bud.
You talked about finding the balance between vertical attacking play and controlling the game. How did tonight feel as far as a step towards that identity?
Yeah, I think we did a good job. And then I think goals change games, right? And so I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, in particular in the second half, was we did a good job of defending deep. And this is going to be natural in football, where if they're committing a lot of numbers forward, you have a ton of space to attack. And so naturally, you want to keep attacking the space, but we lost control of the game in that second half as far as making them defend a little bit more, right? And so now that will be the next phase of this. What because goals change games and changes emotions, right? And so the most important thing is, like, even if it's there at times, let's bring our group forward. Let's set up camp. Let's dictate the game with the ball. And oftentimes in the second half, we had some really good opportunities, and if you don't bury them, now you're going to be in a wave of defending and defending. So I think the guys are doing a great job. I still, and again, for me, Maddie, this is the hardest thing to do in football, especially when they're giving you a direct line to goal, is to step on it and go, no, we're not falling for that. We're going to build up our shape. We haven't had the ball for 5 minutes, and we're going to continue to build.
Brilliant. And then last one for me, just kind of on that topic. You go up 2-0 on the road early, and then when they hit the punch, how pleased were you with the reaction to go forth and get that third goal?
It's awesome, and again, I think we've been talking about just being brave, and again, with younger players, you don't really have to tell them twice. Gozo executing a play that, again, he spent a lot of time in the offseason working on, and I'm just so happy for the young man to have the bravery to attack and then go, no, I'm going to take this myself. And then the execution on the finish was top level. So that was really important for the momentum. Because again, if we don't score that goal, maybe there's a bit more nerves, and we give Atlanta a window to get back in the game.
Brilliant. Thanks again.
Yep.
Brant.
Pablo, congrats. A little bit more on that topic there. You did a great job stopping moments from the opponents and capitalizing on those moments.
Mhm.
How do you transition or move from forward in that so that you take advantage of more of their mistakes so that you can put the game away?
Uh-huh.
What were your thoughts on continuing on the second half there?
Yeah, again, like I said, I think, it's never one way or the other, Brant. And it's really, and why I tell the players, it's really the onus is on them, is because they're defending a lot, right? And so it's really hard to identify this is the moment we should step on it, because if we do that, then Serge isn't in on a breakaway, right, in the second half with Morgan and Gozo coming in. And so if Serge or one of the guys just tells them to hold the ball for a second more, and then we're gonna continue to attack, we probably score another goal. But because we don't, now we find ourselves stretched in transition, trying to preserve our lead. And so I think this is, again, like I said earlier, this is what takes the longest time in football, because every moment's going to be different, every scoreline is going to be different, the fatigue is going to be different, the whether you're home or away is going to be different. And so it's really about growing from this experience and understanding that there's got to be moments where even if they're giving us that ball in behind, let's not take it. Let's keep circulating side to side, and then find another vertical pass that's more that has a higher percentage of retention, right? And so again, I would take nothing away from what happened tonight. The guys were excellent. It's everything happened so that we can get the 3 points, but we'll continue to grow as a group and figure out the moments where maybe we can get a little bit more control with the lead.
Last season, it seems like every post game we were talking about Rafa and what he was doing for the team. This season, 3 games in, man, it's the kids' show this year. What's the deal with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, we talk about development all the time, and how long does it take for guys to develop? Nobody knows. That's going to be very individualistic. Gozo last year had a breakout year, and now he's really put some really good performances and contributions behind that. Luka Moiso, wasn't on the radar to begin preseason. He came into preseason, had a really good preseason. He shows that he's of the level. He's, started the last 3 games, and then obviously Aiden Hezarkhani, scores in back-to-back games. And so, and then you have Zach Booth and you have Sergi Solans, and you're talking about guys that don't have a lot of professional experiences. But again, I think it's a testament to really everyone at the club, and in particular the senior pros that help guide them, that believe in them, that help them when things aren't going well. So I think it's a collective, but at the end of the day, it's really the individual that believes in himself and believes that he can contribute the way these guys have done in the first 3 games.
And lastly, real quick, training ground, training injuries. How did the team come out of the game? Any knocks or dings or anything?
Philip came out with a little tightness in his hamstring, but there's more of a cramp. And then Sergi Solans, the same thing, he was cramping. And again, I think those moments speak to how transitional the game was, in particular in the second half. When you're going forward and then you have to sprint back, it's really tough. So, but I think the guys are going to hopefully recover fully and both be available for next week.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Boot room.
Congrats on the win, Pablo. Our first question is going to be based off of some debuts that we saw, or not debuts, but first starts. How pleased are you with Solans and Gilovogi's first starts, and what stood out to you most from their performances tonight?
Yeah, I think obviously really, really pleased with both of them. I think you saw in the Seattle game when they came into the game where, they combine really well together. And I think, for as much as it is individual players and positions, it's also about the relationships and the connections that they have. And I think Morgan and Serge really connect really well. And there was a similar pass in the Seattle game that Morgan put Sergi in, and this time around Sergi finished it. So just really pleased. I think Morgan helps us bring a lot of control with the ball, but it also can make a pass, can shoot, can set up his teammates. And so I think the two of those are forming a really good partnership. And obviously with every passing game, they'll continue to build upon that.
Brilliant. And our last question is around Gozo. He had some incredible defensive plays tonight. To what do you attribute his ability to adapt to this new position and then just play all over the field?
Yeah, again, Gozo, he's different because the one thing that he has, and I said this earlier this week, is that his world class is his ability to run at speed, at pace, and do it for 90 plus minutes. And so, obviously, the experiences that he had last year as a more attacking, like a winger, lends itself to moving him during the game to spell some of the guys as we're still getting guys healthy. But I think his defensive work is really a testament to the amount of time that our coaching staff spends with Gozo, but more importantly, Gozo's willingness to learn. And I think when you have a player that is as dynamic as Gozo is, 1v1 as good as it is, can play multiple positions, this is a young man that's headed towards a fantastic career. So I'm so proud of him, man. But again, it's all Gozo. It's all his drive. It's his belief, and it's his quality in big moments in games like tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sweet. We'll do Colin. Time for one question from Colin for Pablo.
Thank you, Pablo. Based off of last season, the goals were kind of lacked from our front forwards. We now have back-to-back games with multiple goals from our forwards. What kind of testament would you hadn't touched on it, but what other statements would you have to say on these forwards, especially the young ones? And then with Luna coming back to the roster, just what firepower we're going to be bringing to the MLS this season?
Yeah. No. Again, we were really deliberate in one phase of the game that we wanted to improve upon, which was our transition to attack. So last year, we'd win the ball, but we had no forward runners, right? And so what we ended up doing is retaining the ball and allowing a team to get into a low block, and then we had a really hard time breaking them down. So we were deliberate in the type of players that we wanted to get in. Obviously, Morgan is a vertical runner, but he's also he can combine. Juanma Sanabria is the same thing. He's a runner, but he can also combine. And then you have Gozo on the right wing back, who's a runner, but can also 1v1. And then Sergi's a guy that gets in behind defenses, but it's not speed as much as it is his timing and his connection with the players that are feeding the ball. And so you have four guys that are all willing to get behind defenses. And so in transition is the most opportune time because defenses are disorganized. And so when you got guys that can play balls in, but more importantly, you got willing runners behind the back line, it's opened up a whole new world for us and one that we'll continue to improve upon. But just really pleased. And again, I think that was the biggest difference last year is we forced ourselves the way we played to almost break down 10 players every game that sit in front of the box because we got to their box real easily, but it was very difficult to break it down. So this year, we're taking, at times we're defending a little bit deeper, but what it's actually doing is creating space for our runners to run into.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Pablo.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Colin. We'll have Sergi in the next minute or two. Perfect. We'll start with DJ again. Okay, now DJ. We'll start with in the room.
Empezamos. Sergi, buenas noches. Felicitaciones por tu gol, definitivamente por la actuación de la noche de hoy. Acabas de debutar apenas el 22 de febrero y bueno, ya hoy te consagras con este partidazo que hiciste. ¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Cuáles son tus sensaciones en tan poco tiempo?
Pues mira, como ha dicho mi madre antes del partido, me ha dicho, disfruta del sueño que estás viviendo y creo que es así, estoy soñando, creo que estoy en un sueño aún, pudiendo jugar aquí en este campo con toda esta gente y teniendo la oportunidad de tener una ocasión y de marcarla, creo que es algo de estar orgulloso, de estar orgulloso del trabajo que he hecho antes para poder llegar aquí y ahora tengo que mirar a por más.
Y bueno, ¿qué fue lo más difícil del partido de hoy?
Creo que ellos eran un equipo muy fuerte, que tenía muchos recursos. El 9 el 10 eran jugadores muy buenos, pero creo que ganamos porque fuimos más equipo que ellos. Creo que somos una familia dentro del vestuario y después esto lo reflejamos en el campo. Y creo que esto fue la clave de hoy.
Eso acaba de decir tu coach, Pablo, de la importancia que le dan a ustedes, a los jugadores jóvenes que apenas están debutando y cómo el creer en ustedes es lo que realmente hace que el equipo tenga las actuaciones como la que tuvo la noche de hoy.
Ujú.
¿Eso es lo que sientes en el día a día cuando vas a entrenar y desde que llegaste al equipo ha sido la sensación?
Totalmente, totalmente. O sea, no me lo esperaba así. Me esperaba que fuera más difícil que... Bueno, pues como es normal, llegas a un club profesional donde cada uno mira por lo suyo, pero es todo lo contrario. O sea, llegué, el primer día todos me acogieron súper bien, los grandes tratan de mejorarme todos los días y obviamente el staff está para ayudarnos y más a los jóvenes. Creo que es muy importante pues que nos den las consignas claras, que nos den las indicaciones, que nos ayuden también cuando no lo estemos haciendo bien o cuando lo hacemos bien, para después seguir mejorando y tener oportunidades como la de hoy.
Gracias.
¿Cómo has visto
Felicidades.
el nivel de la MLS como liga, como fútbol? ¿Cómo lo has visto?
Bueno, viniendo de college, a ver, es un salto importante. Es un salto importante. Creo que me he estado preparando bien durante las vacaciones de invierno, perdón. Y esto es lo que es un salto importante, la verdad. Es un salto y tengo que estar preparado por todas las ocasiones que tenga, todas las oportunidades que tenga que me dé el entrenador. Y si son de titular, mucho mejor.
El fútbol de college es bastante competitivo. ¿Cómo ha sido esta diferencia?
Es diferente, es diferente. Yo siempre digo que, bueno, en college es una categoría muy buena para hacer el paso. Pero bueno, es college, no deja de ser, no es fútbol profesional. La gente, primero, como dicen todas las universidades, son student athletes. Primero eres estudiante y después eres athlete. Así que el hay talento, pero no hay como la MLS. Aquí es el fútbol profesional, aquí hay gente de todo el mundo, hay dinero que por eso se está comprando jugadores de Europa o de otros países del mundo y eso se puede reflejar en el campo, la verdad.
Sergio, cuando estuvieron arriba de la tanda, ¿cuáles fueron las falencias que ustedes pudieron encontrar y aprovecharon hoy para poder ganar el partido?
Bueno, creo que fuimos muy letales en transición y es una de nuestras virtudes. También creo que somos muy buenos jugando el balón y encontrar a los 10 para que se giren y después aprovechar el espacio nosotros, pero también creo que tenemos que tener esta virtud de en transición ser letales y defendiendo como hemos defendido la segunda parte y siendo así de agresivos en la transición, creo que también podemos ganar muchos partidos, la verdad.
Gracias.
Gracias, Felipe.
Maddie.
Hi, Sergi. Congratulations on the goal.
Thank
Can,
you.
can you take us through what you were thinking when you saw Morgan running and you knew you had the defender one-on-one?
Honestly, it was pretty similar the chance that we had last week. It was almost the same. So my intentions with him are very clear. He knows what I want, and I need to be ready for him, ready for his quality that he has. This was an amazing pass for him, and my job is to finish and to score the goals for him, for the team, and for me too.
What were you thinking in your head when you saw the ball hit the back of the net?
I was thinking about my family, about my aunt that was there when I was young, helping me, my friends too. It's a hard moment. It's a hard moment because a lot of things went to my mind. But yeah, I mean, as I said before, it's something to be proud of, to be honest.
Who was the first person who said something to you of your teammates, and what did they say?
It was Juanma. Juanma, the Spanish speaker too. We created a really good friendship together the last 2 weeks. And he said, like, man, you deserve it. I mean, that's your job, but you deserve it.
What was the guitar celebration about?
Well, that's a celebration that my friends from back home, like I'm from a small town back home, they told me if I could do it, and I remember that time my friends. So yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, I had to focus to do it.
Brilliant. And then last one for me. Just what does it mean for the team to go on the road and get 3 points in an environment like that tonight?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Very important for I think this beginning of the season has been very good. Even though the game in Vancouver we played very good, we have very good moments that I would say maybe it was unlucky the result. I think it was not fair the lose. Then we perform at home that against Seattle we were a better team than them, more effective at least. And then here coming on a road like far from home, and do this performance, I think is very, very to be very proud of the team too.
Very good. Congratulations again, brother. See you in Herman.
Thank you.
Isaí.
Hola, quería preguntarte con respecto, ya hablaste muchas cosas sobre los mensajes que te llegaron, las personas con las que has hablado, pero ¿qué fue lo que te dijo Pablo después en el medio tiempo quizás? ¿Cuáles fueron las primeras palabras que te dijo después de haber anotado el gol?
Sí, que la faena primera estaba hecha, pero que quedaban 45 minutos para seguir corriendo, seguir presionando y la próxima ocasión que tuviese, pues intentarla meter dentro. Al fin y al cabo, creo que es bueno también que no. Pues que no me digan las cosas buenas también, que es importante que me aprieten. Creo que soy un jugador que me va muy bien cuando me dicen la realidad. Y obviamente he hecho cosas bien, pero también he hecho muchas cosas mal. Y ahora es tiempo de que me lo enseñen en el vídeo y seguir mejorando para la semana que viene.
También llegaste a hablar sobre alguna meta de goles con algunos colegas también que tienes. Bueno, hoy en tu tercer partido en la temporada, creo, si no estoy equivocado, llevas un gol. Va a haber quizás algunos partidos donde tengas menos oportunidades, pero ¿cómo te planteas tú la competencia ya en este equipo para lo que viene?
Pues como he dicho muchas veces, creo que tengo que estar preparado para las oportunidades que tenga, poder rendir al máximo nivel. Sé que no vengo a ser el titular, obviamente, hay jugadores delante de mí, pero cada oportunidad que tenga, sea titular o sea de pocos minutos, tengo que demostrar todo lo que soy y después si tengo ocasiones tengo que tener la mente fría para marcarlas.
Gracias, Sergi. Felicidades y que vengan más goles.
Gracias.
Sí. DJ.
I'm curious, what have you found to be the biggest transition, the biggest thing you've had to adjust to moving from college to Major League Soccer?
I think one thing that I noticed a lot during preseason back in Portugal was the amount of time that you need to be more focused on the game. Every time here you need to think about the tactics, you need to think about the movement and how to solve it. On your movements too, I think your mind needs to be more focused than in college, and also like the physicality part. Yeah.
How different was the game in the second half? You were up 3-1 for a big chunk of the second half, but clearly they made some adjustments at halftime and you guys couldn't unlock them as easily as you did in that first half.
I think it's important to value what we did in the second half. I think it was hard to come from the locker with 3-1 winning. It's not easy, and also with all this atmosphere behind us. So I think it's important to be proud of how we defend in the second half and the 3 points that we take from here.
Thank you.
Okay. Boot room will be our final question for today. Sorry.
Congrats on the goal, Sergi. First goal and first start in the books. How does it feel to get both of those milestones in the same game?
crazy. I mean, something, as I said, unbelievable. I told my friend, like, I'm living a dream right now. I think it's important that I enjoy these next 2 days, but I mean, it's time to also log in again and start training on Tuesday, and work hard to have more opportunities in the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you, Sergi.
Yeah.